This is Empowered Youth, where generations come together to share the gospel and build God's kingdom through the next generation. Faith lived out, truth shared, and lives changed. And now, here's your hosts, Josh Mahshi and Chad Laurain.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Empowered Youth. I am your host, Joshua Mahshi, and this is your co-host, Chad Laurain, FBC Youth Minister Chad Laurain. How are you doing today, Chad?
I'm doing fantastic, Josh. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing really good. Yeah, it's been a great week. Great Wednesday Night Live. This Wednesday we had a good
turnout.
Yeah, good turnout. The kids were, now I teach sixth graders, and the kids were awesome. They were fascinated that I was from Lebanon.
How did they know you were from Lebanon?
I don't know. I really don't remember how.
Did you speak a different language in class?
I didn't. In fact, they asked me after they found out that I was from Lebanon. So yeah.
They thought that was pretty cool?
Yeah, they were fascinated with that.
Okay, so after they did that, did they ask you to say other things?
They asked me to speak a different language, which was French. And so I spoke French to them as well.
Blew their minds?
Yeah.
Did any of them ask you to say their name in a different language?
Every single one of them. And I was like, it's the same. So it was really funny to explain to them that. And they were like, why?
Did they look disappointed?
Yes. But in the end, I told them that like all names are the same. And so, yeah. Mm-hmm. How was Wednesday night for y'all?
It was fantastic. It was awesome. We had we did a lot of games for our Wednesday night, and Drew had that. We had Drew heading that up mainly, and he did a phenomenal job. But we had a food eating contest.
Oh, I saw.
It was a competition, right? So it's like you don't know what you're gonna eat, and none of it's good. And we're getting ready to start the competition. I'm looking at the table, and there's this one girl sitting at the table, and it was like immediate regret and panic. And so I was like, at this time, does anybody have any reservations for the choices they just made and want to bow out? There's no shame in it. I couldn't even finish, and she was like, so we subbed her out. It was awesome. You know, the funny thing is too, is out of all the competitions and games we did, that girls dominated. I mean,
who was it?
Like all the girls, they won all the competitions.
Oh, the girls dominated.
All the girls dominated the competitions. And even like the bingo challenge, like you have first and second place, but girl came in first, boy came in second. And then the other competition that was won was girl boy.
Yeah. Boys that are in youth are at an age where if they think competitiveness is not cool. And
well, some of them, I mean, the boys, they talked a good game, but when it came to the time to deliver, they did not deliver. I was just shocked. I was like, really? So I wasn't expecting it. Some of them, I was like, I you have your suspicions and who's going to win a competition.
Yeah.
I'm just like, man.
Yeah.
They surprised me.
Yeah. Well, have we ever talked about who your favorite disciple is?
My favorite disciple?
Yeah.
I don't think we have.
Okay. Who is your favorite disciple?
It's a toss-up between John and Peter, man.
John,
I like John. I like the book of John.
Oh, I love the book of John.
I love Peter's heart. You know, he wanted so much. But yeah, it's a toss-up between them two. Yeah. Now, the funny thing is when in the Gospels, like the first time I read the Bible, my favorite Gospel right away was the book of Matthew for the longest time. Then it went to Luke, and now it's John.
Yeah.
What about you?
Favorite disciple?
Favorite disciple.
Okay. In the past couple of years, I've related the most to Thomas. But growing up, Peter...
So you had a lot of doubts.
Yeah.
Okay.
But growing up, Peter was my favorite. And then I read Paul's letters, and Peter was like no longer my favorite. And then I read the Gospels again.
What took Peter out of the running?
Just the entire fact about Paul and everything.
Yeah.
And then I read the Gospels again, and I was like, Peter is so annoying. Like, please stop talking, Peter, right now. Like, I don't want you to say anything. And then at Beach Reach, I was like, oh my gosh, I am Peter. So I was like, yeah.
See, that's the lore. That's why like I struggle with which one do I like more, because, we all tend to be a lot like Peter.
Yep.
If we sit and actually are honest and slow, closely examine. So Gospels.
Favorite gospel?
Like, when you first started reading, what was your favorite gospel?
So my dad used to have this dramatized audio Bible as discs, and I think the first gospel that we listened to was Matthew, and then we listened to John the most. But I really loved Matthew as we listened to it, and I memorized the entire passage from Matthew 3 because of that. Because of the audio Bible, because of the way he said it, like John the Baptist, the way he was talking, I was like, that just clicked in my head and I memorized it. But I think ever since John, my favorite gospel is the Gospel of John, because it records Jesus's words the most out of all the other gospels.
So it started off with Matthew. And when did it switch over to John?
A while ago, like when I was younger, like probably at the age of 10.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Actually, no, not at the age of 10. Probably like 12, somewhere around
That's
that
pretty
time.
young.
Yeah.
So how long did you like Matthew for?
Probably from 10 to 12.
A couple of years.
Yeah. But I didn't read anything like
So you never liked Luke or Mark? As in like,
they're not my favorites, no.
So if you had to rank them, like favorite gospel is John. Second is what, Matthew?
No, actually right now, if I have to rank them, it's John, Mark, Luke, Matthew.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
What would you rank them?
See, I like John, Matthew, Luke, then Mark.
It's so interesting, like the different perspectives that they all have. All of them are different and unique in some sort of way, and I really like that. And I like that each of the accounts is different. Is like the most different is John. Like John is separate, and then what do they call the Matthew, Mark, Luke synoptical gospels? Is that what they call them?
You bet.
Okay, ignore that. I don't know if that's what they call them. But they have a certain name, those three gospels, and then there's the Gospel of John, which probably has a name, but I don't know what the name of it is. And so it's so interesting that the Gospel of John talks a lot about Thomas too. Meanwhile, other gospels don't talk about that. Which, now that I think about it, now I know why in The Chosen, they made John and Thomas like close friends. Because the Gospel of John records what Thomas did a lot of times. So out of the disciples, if I can pick like a couple that like stick out to me, it would be Andrew and Philip and Thomas. They stick out to me like for some reason. I'm like, they're interesting. Like not a lot is recorded about them, but whatever is recorded about them is
it'd be
beautiful.
really interesting is, you get this group of disciples, the 12, all from very different backgrounds. It's like, I would like to know what the first 6 months would have been like with them.
Oh yeah.
Because they're around each other, a lot.
Yeah.
They're eating together, they're going out working together, they're doing things together, they're learning together,
do you think
with very diverse backgrounds?
Do you think some fights broke out?
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
I wonder if
who threw the
I would like to know the thoughts.
Yeah.
And because sometimes you think things but you don't say it.
Yeah.
Right. So I would like to know the thoughts of me, because you have a tax collector, fisherman. I mean, you start looking at their professions, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you got to wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, did Matthew have a tough go of it?
You know what they?
I have to wonder that.
So The Chosen,
Well, no, let's talk about the actual Bible.
I know.
Let's talk about
I'm
you
gonna
want to talk about the TV show.
No, I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
I was just gonna point it out that they do show us like how they argued and stuff.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Okay, because I watched a couple episodes, but
there was one episode. Oh my goodness, I cried at the end of it because it's actually taken from Mark 1. And Mark 1 it says like, let me show you. So it says in verse 32, it says, that evening after sunset, the people brought to Jesus all the sick and demon possessed. The whole town gathered at the door, and Jesus healed many who had various diseases and drove out many demons, but he would not let the demons speak because they knew who he was.
So why did that make you cry?
Well, the entire episode.
You cried through the entire episode?
No, the entire episode is filmed as one shot.
Okay.
So it shows you from the line from the back. That's how it starts, all the way to Jesus healing. And then it goes to behind where Jesus was. And it was the tents of the disciples. And they were preparing food or doing some stuff. They were having conversations at first and stuff. Sometimes people would switch, and it wasn't all the disciples at that time. There was like probably 8 of them. And like towards the end of the episode, Peter and Andrew and James and John, or actually Peter and Andrew and Thomas are arguing against Matthew, and James and John were protecting Matthew, like not defending Matthew. And the very end of the episode, you see Jesus walk by and they all go silent. And Jesus is like, he has blood from the people who have diseases, and he's like all sweaty and tired, and he washes his face and says, good night, y'all, and then goes to bed.
He says good night, y'all, like with a southern accent and everything. He's been to America.
No, but it's just so heartbreaking that they're arguing while Jesus is doing ministry. Instead of them focusing on the ministry, they're fighting each other and arguing over their past lives instead of Jesus called them, all of them. And so it's interesting and to think about like the different disciples and their personalities and who would clash with who.
I find it interesting that, and we talked about this before, is, Peter and John.
Yeah.
Right? Competition, man.
Yeah.
And, poor Peter didn't have a gospel, right? But John did.
Well,
and he makes
Mark.
Yeah, well, yeah, Mark does too. He makes the note of it that, going to the tomb, they're both running. And then John makes note. I mean, you have to wonder if John like smirked or just giggled within himself, thinking about back then when it happened and remembering when they first came on and how they competed with each other in that sense.
Yeah.
That he's sitting there writing that John outran Peter. That's right, I beat you, buddy.
It would be it is interesting to see why would John take note of that. But
why did Mark take note of it too?
Well, Mark didn't. Well, the gospel, I think, of Mark and Luke says that they both ran to the garden, but it doesn't mention like John beating Peter. It's only
in the book of John.
Yeah, but I was saying that the gospel of Mark was written from the testimony of Peter, and so
Peter didn't want to talk about it.
Probably not.
Strike that from the record.
But it's interesting. One thing that I was reading the Gospel of John a couple of days ago. Actually, I was listening to it in my car. But I was listening to chapter 21. And Peter, Jesus just had this whole redemption arc with, not his redemption arc, but he was making Peter's redemption arc right there and redeeming him. And he tells him, like, feed my sheep. Do you love me? Like all this stuff. And then he says, follow me. And then Peter, instead of Peter like, okay, saying, yes, Lord, I'll follow you. Peter turns around and he saw the disciple whom Jesus loved was following them, which is John. And when Peter saw him, he asked, Lord, what about him? Like,
does John have to go? Can we leave John at home this time? Please, Lord.
No, because like Jesus was describing the manner that Peter was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter says, what about him? And then Jesus says, if I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you? You must follow me. And so you must follow me.
Do you think
it's a great statement?
Absolutely. Do you think that they had that competition between themselves, you know, as friends, as brothers, right? You know,
yeah.
That competition all the way to the end. I mean, because you got to think too, Paul comes into the mix.
I think once they had I think the disciples didn't understand a lot until Jesus died and rose back from the dead. Right. And then their knowledge started to, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. And then they saw the fulfillment of Scripture. And I'm reading the book of Acts. And you see how like Peter makes all these connections, and then he steps out boldly.
But Peter still struggled though. You know,
oh yeah, for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think that they still had like a silent? I don't necessarily. I don't think so. I'll tell you why. Okay. Well, hold on now. But before you tell me why, because you got to think about this. There are some people that just have a competitive nature.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be all good and fun, but it's still competitive.
Yeah. I don't think so because Jesus, before he died, he prayed that all his disciples would be one mind, just as him and the Father are one. And so I think that the disciples like started to understand, and like if I would assume that yes, sometimes they would fall short and compete and whatever.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about like, you know, healthy competition.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think there was necessarily a jealousy between them.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying a jealousy, but I'm just thinking, do you think they still competed who could do more? Who can do clean better? Yeah. Who could do this? Who could do that? You know, that it's all in fun and it's not like it was before.
Yeah.
You know.
Potentially. I mean, I would assume they might have.
But there's just going back to the beginning of the conversation, there's just so much I wish
that we had more.
That we had more, just to know. I mean, because that's so. I mean, when you get a big group of people and there's so much diversity and so many different backgrounds, it can be very complex in the way that people get along and who they talk to and who they don't talk to and who they hang out with more and who they hang out with less. Than friends, best friends, acquaintances, things of that nature.
It would be interesting to see that, because like right now in the church, like you see the different personalities and different things, and
exactly
you're like, how should we like act with one another, and like how did the disciples do things? I think a lot of stuff was omitted from us for a reason. I think Jesus, through Paul, he teaches us how to act with one another and how to love one another and how to be a church without necessarily showing us the stories of how the early church learned that stuff.
Well, yeah, obviously, we know what's recorded is the things that we needed to know and things to help us. So it's just like you couldn't just record play by play.
Yeah.
That would be endless reading.
Yeah.
It would be good reading and it would be a lot, but it would,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. But it still is interesting to think about that because truthfully, like the church today is people coming from different backgrounds.
I know. I think about like our youth, with our youth, we have Huntsville High School, that's with Mans Park 2. We have Richards, we have Alpha, we have homeschool kids, country kids that live in town,
It's so hard to manage all this. And I wonder how Jesus did it. He is God. He knows how to work best with all this different groups of people and uniting them under one banner, which is Christ, which I know how things like me and you, we have nothing in common. Like
we have everything in common.
Well, our everything is in common because our everything is Jesus.
Yeah.
And so that's the common thing that we have. And that's what unites us together. But really, like, you didn't watch Marvel until like last year, right?
There's a lot that I didn't do until I met until I was with kids.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to remember this, because when I was younger, yes, I was into, DC was big. Marvel wasn't so much big because it was a different time. But, even with my kids that I had that were big into Star Wars, it's like when I was a kid, I was big into Star Wars. But right now, I couldn't tell you the last time I watched it, probably when I was a kid. And then to rewatch it and to go, experience it all over again. But
well, like you work out. You are older than me.
Okay, so I work out. You don't work out.
Not necessarily. I don't.
You do work out or you don't?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I work out and you don't, right? We're talking about the differences.
Yeah.
Okay.
You, for example, love hockey. I hate hockey. See?
Hurts.
See, exactly. We don't have a lot in common.
You like sports.
I don't.
Okay. So why did you have to go and name a specific sport? Why couldn't you just?
Because I didn't know if you like basketball or.
I do not like basketball.
Exactly. I don't like basketball too. Here we go.
We've got something in common.
Yeah. But truth be said, a lot of believers, like Bear and I, don't have a lot of in common. I don't know why, like our friendship is only based on because of Jesus, and because of Jesus, like whatever goes between us, like doesn't matter really.
Well, okay, hold on a second. Okay, you like the mountains though, right?
I love the mountains.
I love the mountains. That's something we actually have in common.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying though. But spiritually, we have a lot. I mean, we have a lot in common. And with ministry, with wanting to teach, reading, having the passion to reach the lost, willing to do whatever it is that God's having us to do. I mean, we both have that same share of desire. So I see your point there.
And it's because of Jesus. And so I think because of the Holy Spirit, the disciples were unified.
So after the day of Pentecost, serious unified, right? Once they received the helper.
Like they overlooked.
I would have to say too that the cross, did something to them too. That was a big impact. I mean, they all responded differently. Yeah. And even going through the event, I can only imagine, what was going through their minds and what, while it's happening in real time, right? Because they didn't have the Gospels, right? So they're going through it. So I can only imagine what's going through their mind at the time and the conversations they had within each other.
Yeah. The cross had a big impact on them.
Absolutely, it did.
We'll talk more about the 12 disciples after the break.
Okay.
So we'll take a quick break and we will see y'all after the break. Please stay with us.
Do you enjoy programs like the one you are listening to today? These programs are made possible by the generous support of Spirit Radio underwriters. We invite you to consider underwriting Spirit Radio to help us to continue delivering quality, uplifting, and inspirational programming to our community. To learn more or to donate, visit spiritradio.fm. Thank you for your support. And now, back to Empowered Youth.
Welcome back to this segment of Empowered Youth. I have
a quick question.
Okay, go ahead.
See how I beat you to the punch. What is your favorite number?
8.
Why 8?
Because if you add 2 to it, it becomes 10.
So not pick 10.
No, because
that doesn't make any sense. What?
8 has like a special place in my heart.
I didn't ask what was your favorite math problem. I just said, Josh, what is your favorite number? And you're like, 8. Why? Well, because if you add 2, then it becomes 10.
What's your favorite problem? I mean,
My favorite problem is you.
oh my goodness, that's awful.
I know, right? But it's good. 9.
9. Why?
I just like the number 9.
Because if you add 1, it's 10.
If you add 1, it's 10. I have to add less than you.
Okay. I have a question for you on the serious level.
Did that throw you off?
Yes, because I thought you had a serious question.
It was a serious question. I wanted to know what your number was. But see how close it was?
Yeah.
Either in either case, it was close to 9. Whether you added the 2 or not.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
That my number was 9 and yours was the number before 9 and after 9. But not 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question about like the disciples and what, like we were just talking about how like before the Holy Spirit they were different. Before the cross and the Holy Spirit they were different.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question that we didn't really talk about that they asked Jesus, and they come to Jesus and say, who's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?
Mm-hmm. What
does this reveal about human nature?
Who wants to be the best? Who wants to be the top dog?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I asked you about, you get Paul on the scene. Paul writes the majority of the Gospels, and he's basically running the program.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
Setting up the churches and keeping the focus.
He was a missionary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked you that question. What did you think about when Paul came on the scene? Because we're talking about John and Peter, right?
Yeah.
And John being the disciple that Jesus loved.
Mm-hmm.
And then who does Jesus meet on the road to Damascus?
Paul.
He meets Saul, which he renames him Paul.
Yeah.
Right. Then you have Paul on the scene. Then you have the prison letters, and his relationship with Timothy. And I just think it's awesome. I think it, in a lot of ways, like the way I look at it, is like Paul was like Jesus in the ministry, but from the full human,
mm-hmm.
from our standpoint, and then making these disciples, and having, Barnabas come alongside him because he needed that. And, encouraging Timothy, handing off the baton, Does it make sense?
Yeah, but what does
What was what?
The question was, what does that, like, who's the greatest among us reveal about human nature?
Pride. It's always there, buddy, whether we like it or not. Deep down, it's there.
But do you think it was removed? Like, that question was
I don't know. I mean, because we struggle with sin, right?
Yeah.
Even Paul notes the struggle with sin. The things that I should do, I do, and the things that I shouldn't do, I do. And, it's that back and forth that they're arguing within himself. I think we still struggle with pride.
Yeah.
I mean, there are days that we do great with it, and there are days and times and moments that it creeps in a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
The pride gets in the way.
Yeah.
It's like, even you think that when people fall down, what do we say? Did you hurt your pride? Are you okay? But
yeah.
I mean, we know that it's there. We know that it's always there.
Yeah.
And at some level, it's there.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. Actually, there's a quote in my quote book.
Uh-oh.
Let me look up ego. What? Pride. So there's a girl that works at the BSM. Her name is Andrea.
Mm-hmm.
And she's so funny. But one time Brian, Brian,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he did. He probably was yelling and whatever, ouch, you hurt me or whatever. And Andrea said, he's not hurt. That's just his pride. And that killed me. Which is true.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we react and we do things because of our pride.
I mean, if you think about it, even in some scenarios, people want the full credit. It's hard for them to share credit with things.
Yeah.
This was my idea, so we need to make sure that it's mentioned that it was my.
Yeah.
Why else would you say that?
Mm-hmm.
That's pride. That's all it is. That's what that circles. I mean, we want plaques on walls. in
Yep.
memory of and dedicated to. Yeah, that's pride.
Yep. And and correct me if I'm wrong. Does or teach me this.
No.
Does the thought of pride, is that the sin? Or like, because like sometimes like when I'm doing things, I'm like, I want people to know I did this, and then I like, as soon as I say that, I'm like, no, I don't want this. Like, this is not for my glory, but for your glory, Lord. Like, I don't, please, like, don't let me be
this goes
recognized.
to take every thought captive.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, because you can't control. I mean, it's not always your thoughts that are coming into your mind. So where the originating source is, I think it's more so on what do you do with it? Do you dismiss it? Do you shut it down in your mind and don't act on it? Or do you act on it? That's the difference. I think if you act on it, obviously that's no bueno. That's no good. Right. But just having the thought, I don't think that counts.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting how the disciples were. Like, I love seeing the disciples, how they were a certain way, how like they wanted to be the first, they wanted to be the best. And then after they understood the whole picture of why Jesus came and everything, they saw the whole thing. Like, like a lot of them like start becoming humble. A lot of them like change completely. I look at the letters of John, and like he talks about the 3 biggest sins. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. And I look at Jesus, and he tells us all 3, like there's a way to defeat all 3 things. So in Matthew 6, it talks about 3 things to do in secret.
Okay.
Giving to the needy. That deals with the lust of the
How do you
eyes.
give to the needy in secret?
Well, like it says, don't let your
anonymous donor.
No, like it's not about that. It's like don't take pride.
Don't do it publicly and make a spectacle of it. I got you.
And so, giving to the needy, it deals with the lust of the eyes. Because like lust of the eyes is what like you would need more. You need more. Fasting deals with the lust of the flesh. Because you're disciplining your body. You're telling your body, like, it's no longer you who's in control, but Jesus is. And then prayer in private, in secret, that defeats pride. Because if you notice, when we don't pray, we're telling God, we don't need you right now. Like, I got this. I'm on control. I got this. Like, thank you.
Well, that's like with, pray without ceasing.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay in a constant state of this.
Yeah.
You don't have to be, kneeling down. You can be standing up. You can be driving. You can be walking.
Yeah.
I think a lot of, there are people out there that think that when you pray, it has to be like this. Close your eyes and bow your head, right? When you close your eyes to free yourself from the distractions.
Yeah.
But
and when you do this to free yourself from the distractions that you're going to do.
Yeah, you don't want to, you want to be fidgeting with something like that. This is full concentration. This is trying to be restrained, right?
Yeah.
Just like kind of like driving, your hands are on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
But I mean, shoot, there's times when I'll go for a walk and my eyes are clearly open because I've tried closing my eyes before and walking and you drift. That's not good. I don't recommend it.
Or you trip and fall.
Exactly.
And you didn't fall. You didn't
don't
hurt
realize
yourself.
that the elevation is moving up.
You didn't hurt yourself. You hurt your ego.
Yeah, it hurt my pride.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it says, to not worry about anything. I mean, I think about this a lot, with anxiety and fears that people have. And the Bible clearly says, worry about nothing, pray about everything. I mean, I take that to heart. It's like, I'm not going to stress about it. I know the problem's there. I'm aware of it. It's not like I'm ignoring it. But I'm giving it to God. I will pray about it and put it in his hands. And whatever he chooses to do with it or allows to happen, I'm good with it. I'll accept it. I'm not going to question it. Right?
Yeah. Well, it's been a really good talk about the 12 disciples, their backgrounds, and
and the
pride.
diversity.
Yeah. And the diversity of them. It's really interesting to see them like that. What would your last comment on the diversity of the disciples be? And how can you encourage the church and believers now?
Encourage the believers now. And last thoughts on it. This is the funny thing with the disciples, right? Did they have name brands?
Name brands.
Like their robes.
No.
And their shoes. You think about that. I mean, because that is like a barrier, the way that we dress. We tend to judge on appearance.
Yeah.
Right. And the things that we do. Do you have a hat on? Did you brush your hair? Yeah. Are your clothes ironed? Because I imagine they didn't have irons back then. So, I mean, but, you think of the robes because, they noticed that Jesus's robe is all one piece. So that made it more valuable, right? Is it like if you had patchwork on, then is that, looked down upon, depending on how much money you had, right?
Yeah.
But, you think about those things. You think about the things that causes us to unknowingly judge people. Right, because we're gravitated to talk to people that dress like us and seem to be like us and carry ourselves like us. That's just a natural. I think that's just human nature, if you will, that we're drawn to not pay attention to the way that people's appearances are, but just be able to go up to anybody. I mean, I think that's the big difference. It's like even when we've talked about this before in the past, like sharing the faith, when there was that guy that was like, I was like, I am not talking to him. Nope, not happening. And then God pressed upon my heart that you need to go talk to him. And I was like, I don't want to though. But I mean, I think that as you mature in your faith, I mean, I like to believe this, as you mature in your faith, those barriers go away.
Yeah.
They should go away.
They should.
You
That's a sign of maturing.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. Really good encouragement. As we end this show, I encourage you guys to love on one another and care for one another and be unified with one another in Christ. Find the common ground, which is Christ, in one another, and love one another, and don't just judge based on appearance. But judge righteously. That's what Scripture tells us to do. And so, love each other. We love you here from FBC Huntsville.
Absolutely.
Yep. You have a good day. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.